What's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, and I'm coming to y'all today with the top 5 training camp battles to watch for and why. Is this the most competitive training camp in years for the Washington organization? Training camp starts Tuesday, July 27th in Richmond. Again, I have an entire video breaking down when they'll be in Richmond, when they'll go back to Ashburn, all of the events that fans can attend and all of that. You can go and check that out. But today we're talking about the training camp battles and which ones you need to look out for the most, because some of them are very intense or have some very interesting names involved. These rookies matter, man. But before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Again, be on the lookout for these film sessions. I'm getting them out there. Jamin Davis one is ready. Just got to record and edit. And also make sure you check out the rest of the channel. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos. So again, make sure you check out the rest of the channel. Subscribe, hit the bell next to the subscription button. Let's get it. Coming in at number 5, you have the tight ends. This is mostly because of Sammis Reyes, of course, but to list off all of them currently on the roster, you have Logan Thomas, the clear starter, John Bates, the rookie, clearly in second place already. Then you have Ricky Seals-Jones, Tamarick Hemingway, Tyrone Swoops, my boy Sammis Reyes, Dion Yelder, and Dylan Cantrell. And this is number 5 because Sammis Reyes is this polarizing prospect. I mean, there were teams that were basically fighting to get him at one point, but he chose to go with us because of where we were located and he already kind of lived here, something like that. So we ended up winning the Sammis Reyes sweepstakes. According to his RAS, his relative athletic score, he's the most athletic tight end to ever touch the NFL. But he's transitioning from playing straight basketball to not only learning how to play the tight end position, but just learning football in general. He's from Chile, played D1 basketball, so he's as raw as it gets for not only tight end, but just playing football in general. I mean, he had to learn like what a 3-4 defense was. Like, he's completely new to it. He's not at that point now. Now he's way further than that, and I'm really excited. I was very encouraged by what I saw towards the end of mandatory mini camps where they had him running red zone drills, and he was able to make difficult catches and tap his feet in bounds at the last second and things like that. So he's showing a lot of progress. Still a long ways to go. And that's why this is one of my top training camp battles, because we already know what we have in Logan Thomas. I can assume what we may have in John Bates. But right now, Ricky Seals-Jones and Sammis Reyes, if we're only going to keep 3 tight ends, it's between those two. And Ricky Seals-Jones, as of right now, is probably our best pure receiving tight end. But Logan Thomas and John Bates, day one, are our best dual threat tight ends. But then you have Sammis Reyes back there that has the highest ceiling out of all of them by far. If somehow Sammis Reyes works out, he could literally just be a more athletic, better blocking Jimmy Graham. The potential is limitless. I love Logan Thomas. I love John Bates. But none of those guys have that ceiling. So I'm hoping Sammis Reyes can at least be good enough to make his 53-man roster, because I don't want to put him on the practice squad and hope another team doesn't pick him up, because he will get picked up. There were several teams that were interested in him before we got him, before he chose to sign with us. So I am very afraid of letting him go. So I'm just really hoping that he looks the part in training camp, at least to some certain extent. Maybe he doesn't look like a week 1 starter, but I hope he at least looks like a relatively decent red zone threat early on, and then we'll get the blocking down later. We'll get the route running down. We'll get all of the complicated stuff down later. But if he could at least just look useful enough to make the 53-man roster, that's big, because again, I'm a huge Sammis Reyes fan. I'm always a fan of the freak athletes that you gotta mold, no matter the position. Quarterback with the Trey Lances, potentially Malik Willis. Safety with the Jeremy Chins and Kyle Duggars. Linebacker with the Isaiah Simmonses. I just want the freak athlete. Jamin Davis at linebacker. I want the freak athlete, and I want my coaches to do their job. Speaking of coaches, P. Honer, I mean, you saw what he did taking Detroit Lions Logan Thomas and turning him into the Logan Thomas that we know now. If anybody can get Sammis Reyes right, it's him. But again, the reason this is number 5 training camp battle for me, because I mean, Sammis Reyes, all you got to do is just look useful enough. But there's definitely a threat that if he regresses, he may not make the team. And he's one of the players I'm most interested in out of this entire team, like including Jamin Davis, including Chase Young, Terry McLaurin. Sammis Reyes is up there for me. and I really want him to work out, because if he does, he has all-pro potential. It's not very likely, but I mean, with the type of ceiling that he has, you can't deny that he doesn't have all-pro potential. Now, his all-pro potential is less likely than a Chase Young, of course, but it's not like it's not there like guys who have athletic limitations. Sammis Reyes has no limitations. He just needs time, preparation, coaching, needs to run through a lot of reps. Just needs to learn the entire sport, not just tight end, but again, the entire sport. Moving on. Number 4, it's gotta be offensive line. We literally have 3 starting O-line spots technically up for grabs right now, because you have Brandon Sheriff starting right guard, Chase Roulier starting at center. You even have some people that may assume left guard is going to be taken over by Eric Flowers, and that's why they signed him. Nothing set in stone at all yet, but Wes Schweitzer has been with the first team at left guard. And then there's the dark horse, Sadiq Charles, who has all of the talent in the world, who I feel like if he's able to stay healthy and develop, he could play at a Pro Bowl level at either guard or tackle. I think he's just that talented. So that's 3 guys that honestly have a chance to win that left guard position in training camp. Sadiq Charles is on the outside looking in as far as starters go. Wes Schweitzer and Eric Flowers are definitely more likely, but again, do not count Sadiq Charles out, because between the 3, he's the most naturally talented. It's just all about development. He's the youngest, he's the least experienced, so it's going to be talent versus experience. And Wes Schweitzer is obviously in first place to start at left guard as of right now, because he's played for Rivera already. Eric Flowers was really good when he was here, but he left right as soon as Ron Rivera got here. And you know Ron Rivera is always going to side with the guys that he brought in, whether it be through free agency, the draft, or guys that he has continuity with. And he knows that Wes Schweitzer, he's seen it with his own eyes. Wes Schweitzer played well in between Chase Roulier and whoever's going to start at left tackle. He's seen it already. He's seen Wes Schweitzer specifically block for Antonio Gibson already, or for a Washington quarterback so that Terry McLaurin can get the ball. And then the tackle spot. Is Charles Leno guaranteed to start at left tackle? We brought him here, but it's not like we paid him a bunch of money and it's like, oh yeah, he has to start at left tackle no matter what. And then Cornelius Lucas, who was actually really solid last year at left tackle, very underrated. I believe he was the best tackle in the NFL against bull rushes, and he was top 12 in a lot of other advanced stats. Very underrated tackle, but he's at risk of not starting because Samuel Cosmi, the second round draft pick, is one of the most athletic tackles to ever touch the NFL. Very similar to like a Jamin Davis at linebacker or a Sammis Reyes at tight end. They're just these apex athletes that are just very rare. If Samuel Cosmi can put all of that talent together, it's going to be really hard to deny him from starting. Because the goal is to get him to start at some point anyway, like long term, he's the plan. So if he's any type of ready, if him and Cornelius Lucas or even Charles Leno are even close in production, Samuel Cosmi is going to go ahead and get that nod. He can be like slightly worse or slightly less good, I would say, than them. And he'd probably get the starting nod because Ron Rivera just wants to go ahead and kick this into gear and get the guys who are going to be here long term to just go ahead and get out there and get the important reps that they need in game. That's what last year was built on. Now look how ready we are. Look how far ahead Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas, and several other guys have gotten in their development just because we gave them starting level roles. Remember, people were upset. Wasn't me. I already knew the plan. I could already see that Antonio Gibson was going to be different, but people were upset that we released Adrian Peterson for the rookie Antonio Gibson, who's making a transition from receiver to running back. Now look at him. So I feel like if anything, if Samuel Cosmi is even kind of close to Cornelius Lucas and Charles Leno, he will get the starting nod. I just don't think he's there yet. And then again, Cornelius Lucas was really solid, and then now his ex-teammate from the Bears, Charles Leno, just came over here 1 year later than Cornelius Lucas did. Now Charles Leno is probably taking Cornelius Lucas's spot at the starting left tackle position. I'm assuming Cornelius Lucas has the starting nod at right tackle as of right now, but again, Samuel Cosmi is sneaking up on both of them. So we'll have to see. It's 3 players fighting for 2 starting spots as far as tackles go, and it's 3 players fighting for 1 starting spot as far as guards go. Even though, I mean, I love Brandon Sheriff, but I wouldn't put my life savings on the fact that he's going to play 16 games. So really, it may be 3 players fighting for 2 spots, honestly, at least for a portion of the season. Maybe not the entire season, like tackle, whereas obviously 2 spots open, but I'm not betting Brandon Sheriff to stay healthy all year, so somebody may get a chance to start at right guard at some point. We'll see. Not hoping for it. I prefer Brandon Sheriff to be out there, but we got to think realistically, y'all. Then number 3, it's got to be quarterback. And honestly, quarterback would be number 1 if I was absolutely 100% sure that it was going to be an open competition. Ron Rivera says it will be. Still don't exactly feel like it will. We'll see. We'll see if he puts his money where his mouth is, but as of right now, I'm assuming it will not. All signs point to Ryan Fitzpatrick being the assumed starter, and Taylor Heinicke's going to have to outperform Ryan Fitzpatrick by a wide margin to even overthrow him. I feel like even if Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heinicke are close, or even if Taylor Heinicke is just slightly better, I feel like Ryan Fitzpatrick is just the assumed starter as of right now. And again, Taylor Heinicke would have to just completely outplay Ryan Fitzpatrick to take over that starting spot. But still, at the same time, this is going to be very interesting to watch, because there's a lot of us that feel like Taylor Heinicke can ball out, but at the same time, I'm in the crowd where I don't know if Taylor Heinicke can stay healthy for a full, not even 16 game schedule anymore, 17 games over 18 weeks. Can he do that? He added a lot of muscle, like the Washington football team organization asked him to do, because they clearly see his durability problems as well, and I'm pretty sure he does too. He self-evaluates. So he added all of this muscle, so we'll see if he can stay healthy. But I mean, he just seems to even have a little bit of bad luck, because he got that gash on his head from like a random mini camp player that I think hit him with his helmet or his cleat or something. He got hit in the head in some way, and it was just some super freak accident, unlucky thing. But it just seems like hurt finds its way to Taylor Heinicke in the weirdest of ways. But hopefully, if Taylor Heinicke can stay healthy long term, I think he probably honestly does give us the best chance to win over a Ryan Fitzpatrick. But we'll have to see, man. This training camp battle is going to be crazy, because even if it is already that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to start week 1, and it's really not much Taylor Heinicke can do unless he just literally looks like Aaron Rodgers, I guess, it's still going to be really fun to watch, because Taylor Heinicke is going to go out there and ball. We've already seen in early offseason workouts, mini camps, things like that, Taylor Heinicke is out there fighting for that starting job spot. So even if it's already predisposed that Ryan Fitzpatrick's got it, doesn't mean Taylor Heinicke is just gonna be like, well, oh well, I guess I'll just accept being the backup. No, he's gonna go out there and ball out. So I'm really excited to watch that training camp battle, even if this training camp battle doesn't actually have any real consequence to it, because again, Ryan Fitzpatrick is pretty much the assumed starter as of right now. It's still just gonna be fun to watch. Especially, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick even in nature is an exciting quarterback to watch, with him making great plays and then also just throwing a dumb interception. I feel like there's going to be just a lot of both in training camp. Just a fade route to the corner of the end zone where very few quarterbacks can put it, and then later on in the same practice throw a terrible interception straight to a defender's chest. I mean, I can easily see both. So again, I don't feel like this training camp battle has any real consequences to it, but it's going to be the most fun to watch, and that's why it's still number 3, because if it were a true 100% fair open quarterback competition, this would easily be number 1. Next up, number 2, it's gotta be the secondary. I mean, this secondary has some ballers in it. There's a lot of talent, and there's even like a chance that some surprise cuts can happen. Like maybe DeShazer Everett doesn't make the team if a lot of these younger guys are ready to step up. But I can list everybody. With the cornerbacks, you have William Jackson, Greg Stroman, Danny Johnson, Jordan Brown, Lyndon Stevens, Kendall Fuller, Benjamin St-Juste, Jimmy Moreland, Darrell Roberts, and Torrey McTyer. And then the safeties, you have Landon Collins, Jeremy Reeves, Derek Forrest, Cole Luke, Chris Miller, Cameron Curl, DeShazer Everett, Bobby McCain, and Troy Apke. There's a lot of talent in that room. You already know William Jackson starting number 1 outside corner. But then beyond that, it's literally a toss-up everywhere. Because I want Cameron Curl to start at strong safety, but Landon Collins is the second highest paid defensive back in the NFL this season. If we're just looking at this one singular season, he's the second highest paid defensive back in the NFL. And for him not to start is wild. But Cameron Curl, off of production and potential, I want him starting. So that's an ugly situation. How are we going to work in Landon Collins, who in the past has said several times he doesn't want to play a linebacker-like role? He doesn't want to be in the box all day, even though that's where he does his best work. I guess it's like a longevity thing. Wants to take the least amount of hits as possible, so he'd prefer to be in coverage rather than in permanent run-stop duty, I guess. I don't know. And having to blitz against huge offensive linemen all the time. I mean, I guess I understand, but come on, bro. Cameron Curl is outplaying you right now. So then that's just strong safety. Then free safety, you have Jeremy Reeves, who was already here last year, and he's emerging. Cameron Curl loves him as his duo, as his partner, with Cameron Curl at strong safety, Jeremy Reeves at free safety. And Jeremy Reeves is getting better and better, and Pro Football Focus loves him. I mean, they've graded him very high in a lot of different situations at free safety, a lot of different metrics. They love him. But at the same time, I'm a Bobby McCain guy because through the first 5 weeks last year, when he was on the Dolphins, he allowed the lowest passer rating out of all safety. And then the Miami Dolphins defense regressed a little, or just never progressed, while everybody else in the league around them just got better, kinda. And then it became harder to cover because his defensive line wasn't getting as much pressure. He does not have to worry about that here. So I do feel like we can get some range of that first 5 weeks Bobby McCain from 2020, but like consistently throughout a 17-game season this year, because again, the talent around him is going to be the easiest job he's ever had in his career. Just be rangy. You don't have to overthink things. William Jackson's going to be on one side locking it down. The defensive line is going to have constant and immediate pressure on quarterbacks consistently. The linebackers can finally cover, so you're not necessarily even responsible for that second level as much as you would have been. So I can see Bobby McCain balling out here. But then you also have Derek Forrest, who's an athletic freak that, if groomed well, he could potentially be a star at strong safety, a star anywhere in the backfield. Then you have Darryl Roberts, who we brought in, who's the most versatile guy in our secondary. He's had a season where he started the most of his snaps at slot corner. He's had a season where he started most at outside corner. He's had a season where he started most at free safety, and he's had a season where he started most at strong safety. I mean, he's literally played everywhere for like full seasons. It's not like he's mainly an outside corner for like 3-4 years and then played a little in the slot here, a little bit strong safety here, a little bit free safety here. No, he literally had the primary responsibility of every role in the secondary for at least one season in his career so far, and we're not even sure if he's going to make the team. Then you have Jimmy Moreland, who by several advanced statistics is one of the better slot corners in the NFL. It's crazy. Like, he's top 5 in a couple of crazy statistics that makes me question whether or not he has the potential to be an elite slot corner. I liked him a lot when we drafted him, and I still like him now, but these advanced statistics make him seem like a future Hall of Famer. And then the opposite starting corner spot, opposite of William Jackson. My hope is for Benjamin St-Juste, who's been balling out. I mean, he even has the sign of approval from Chase Young. The coaches love him, specifically the DB's coach, Chris Harris. I mean, he's been balling against like Terry McLaurin and all types of receivers. I mean, if you can cover Terry McLaurin well, you can cover anybody in this league, especially with this size, with him being 6'3". I want William Jackson covering the Chris Godwins, the speedy guys, while Benjamin St-Juste is blanketing the Mike Evans and the Kenny Galladays and things like that. That's perfect. That's the ideal situation. Hopefully, he'll be ready by week 1 to start at outside corner, because if he does, that gives us the ability to move Kendall Fuller back to the slot. And I'm gonna keep saying that Kendall Fuller is a good outside corner, but he's an elite slot corner, so we can put him back at the position that he's best at. That's our best chance of putting all of our best players on the field at the same time. And again, you have so many guys that are versatile. You have Kendall Fuller, outside, inside, slot, all of that. Benjamin St-Juste, outside, slot. Landon Collins can play like weird, strong safety roles in the box, can help you in cover 3, cover 4 as well. DeShazer Everett, we've seen him play both free safety and strong safety. Whenever there's an injury, he's ready to step up and play out of the one. Cameron Curl is everywhere in the secondary. Slot, covering tight ends, covering running backs, playing in the box, making plays like a linebacker. Also playing a deep safety role at times, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, wherever you want him to. Then again, you have Darryl Roberts, who already broke down, that plays literally every position in the secondary. Bobby McCain, I prefer him at free safety, but Pro Football Focus feels like he's one of the better slot corners in the NFL. I mean, there's just so much talent in the secondary. I can't wait to see how it all works out, because again, you could argue Derek Forrest and Troy Apke, who are both kind of on the outside looking in, and I'm expecting them to have a strong special teams impact immediately. But as far as like actually playing on the defense, like one of the 11 defensive players, I don't really see that in their cards going into this season, especially early on for Derek Forrest, and any at all for Troy Apke. But they're two of the most athletic guys on our entire team. And again, they're pretty much on the outside looking in. So this is crazy. That secondary training camp battle is about to be very interesting to watch. And what makes it even more interesting is that they are the direct rival for my #1 training camp battle, and that's the receivers. I'm so interested in the secondary, not only because I just love the secondary, but also they're going to be the ones that's out here making sure our receiving group is battle tested very well. And this receiving group is definitely the #1 training camp battle, in my opinion. I mean, who knows who's going to make this team? Who has any idea who's for real going to be the 6 receivers that makes the team? And I'm assuming it's 6, But last year, I believe we only kept 5 when we did the 53-man roster. But there's no way we can do less than 6 right now with all of these guys. We already know Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and I'm assuming De'Ami Brown is safe. I feel like Cam Sims is that tier right below them as far as safe. So that's 4. Now you have 2 spots left for who? Adam Humphries, when healthy. One of the better slot receivers in the NFL and also a pretty good returner, which is something we've had problems with. Steven Sims was looking like, hey man, he might be that dude 2 years ago. The way he was progressing as the season went on, he was looking like an unguardable slot receiver, and he also looked pretty good in returning. I don't know what happened last year. I think somebody took his powers like Space Jam. I don't know what happened, but he's still there. And when he's at his best and when he's consistent, he's one of the more talented receivers on this team, easily. It's just I'm not depending on him ever again after what he did last year. Then you have Kelvin Harmon, who out of all of these guys other than the top 4 that I listed, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Cam Sims, and De'Ami Brown, Kelvin Harmon is the one I want to make the team the most. Because 2 years ago, he had the best hands on the team, and that's including Terry McLaurin being on the team. And now he recovered from this injury, and he has one of those situations where some guys after a leg injury with the stem cells and how advanced technology is, they come back stronger, faster, quicker, more explosive, and more agile than they were before the injury. It's like he's got like a bionic leg or something like that. So I'm really excited about Kelvin Harmon's potential because he's probably our best contested catch receiver. I mean, now De'Ami Brown is making a case for that as well. But if he's explosive now and can separate on his own with better route running and just being a more athletic guy now with his new and improved leg, Kelvin Harmon has the potential to be one of the best receivers on the team. But who knows if he's even going to make it, because Ron Rivera is definitely partial to guys that he drafted and signed. Kelvin Harmon's not one of them. You know who is? Antonio Gandy Golden. Drafted him in the 2020 draft. Didn't play much last year. Was hurt pretty much all year. But he started to make plays in minicamp. He probably had the best catch in mandatory minicamp. And he has a lot of potential as well because he's one of the tallest receivers on this team. But usually the bigger guys have bad releases. The best way to lock up and cover a big receiver is to jam him at the line. You can't really do that with Antonio Gandy Golden because he secretly has a really good release, especially for a guy his size. And he's on the outside looking in. Then you have DeAndre Carter, who, may surprise some people as like an actual receiver on offense, fairly underrated in that department. But we brought him here to potentially be our starting returner. Out of everybody on this roster, right now, he's technically our best returner. But he's severely on the outside looking in. Then you have Isaiah Wright, who's basically like the more receiver-like version of Antonio Gibson as far as being able to play running back, receiver, being really athletic and things like that. He's not quite the athlete that an Antonio Gibson is, but who is? I mean, Antonio Gibson is 20 pounds heavier than Christian McCaffrey and yet ran a 4.39 when Christian McCaffrey ran a 4.49. Just not many people in the NFL in general are built like him, but Isaiah Wright is definitely that athletic tier right below him. He's on the outside looking in. Dax Milne, 7th round pick. I like him a lot. When you go look at Zach Wilson highlights, honestly, some of those amazing throws are made possible by an even more amazing catch from Dax Milne, laying it all on the line and doing what he has to do. He's already a solid route runner. He's just one of those guys that has no weaknesses, but also doesn't have any elite traits other than probably his hands. He has really good hands, but he's just not very athletic. But you know exactly what you're getting. He also brings returning potential, and it's already been reported from John Com that Ron Rivera and company see Dax Milne as their future slot guy, like the guy of the future, like the next 10 years to hold it down in slot and potentially be our starting returner, because even Nate Katzer said that he likes him as well, our special teams coordinator. And then you also have Tony Brown. So again, you have Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Cam Sims, and De'Ami Brown, probably the only 4 that's safe. Then you have 2 spots left out of all of those other guys I just broke down. How is that not the most intense training camp battle? Again, quarterback would be number 1 if we knew for sure if it were 100% open and fair and honest. But assuming that it will not be, the wide receiver group has to be the most interesting. Again, just like how the receiving group makes the secondary group more interesting to watch, same thing. This receiving group with all of this competition and them playing their hearts out to see who's going to make the team, that's going to make watching the secondary more fun, because we know the receivers are going to be out there laying it on the line and giving everything they have just to be on this team. So it's going to be up to the secondary to step it up and not get trampled over and dominated by the receiving group every day. Granted, they have the strength of the team on their side, the defensive line, to make their jobs easier, but this is still going to be crazy. And it's no mistake that my top 2 training camp battles are positions that directly directly go against each other. I'm so excited to see what this receiving group does to the secondary. I'm excited to see what the secondary does to the receiving group. I'm excited to see what each of those individual position groups do amongst each other, how they're going to outplay each other, the healthy competition. Oh, it's going to be amazing. And then as some honorable mentions real quick, I'm also excited to see what the running backs and linebackers have going on. Because if Jamin Davis can prove to be a starting Mike linebacker, if he's able to take on blocks better and not get bullied by offensive linemen and all of that traffic that goes on in the heart of the defense and the heart of the offensive line, and if he's able to learn how to call plays like John Bostic, that's literally John Bostic's only role on this defense right now. He's nowhere near the best in coverage. He's probably one of the worst. He's not great in run defense. He's not a great block shedder. Really, his only role is being the quarterback of the defense. If Jamin Davis can take that over, we will not have to see John Bostic on the field much at all, if any at all. And then running backs. I love Jaret Patterson, but to be honest, Peyton Barber does have this niche on the team where if you need 1 yard on 3rd and 1 or on the goal line, you're trying to punch it in for a touchdown. That's a good role for Peyton Barber, especially if you want to take some miles off of Antonio Gibson. But I feel like Jaret Patterson has so much potential to be another dual threat back, just basically a baby Antonio Gibson. I feel like he definitely has the talent. Our running backs coach, Randy Jordan, already praised him and was surprised about how natural of a catcher he was because they didn't see much of that on tape while he was in college. And then now he comes to mandatory mini camps and he's catching everything thrown at him. And then on top of that, he's just a really good running back. Vision, quickness, cuts, strength, all of that. Some people compare him to a Maurice Jones-Drew. Ron Rivera said he's basically like a stronger Darren Sproles. I can also see a little bit of Devonta Smith in him. And so how do you not allow that to make the 53-man roster with that type of potential, with those type of comps? So to have Antonio Gibson as your number 1 running back, can catch, can run the ball, literally run routes like a receiver, everything. Then you have Jaret Patterson coming in to take some carries off of him. And then you have J.D. McKissic as your 3rd down back to change the pace of the game. And honestly, some people are not acknowledging this, but J.D. McKissic is one of the main reasons we were even able to win this division. I mean, he's one of those guys that definitely saved our season last year. So he's definitely not an afterthought. You cannot forget him on this team. And then again, will we keep 4 running backs? Because will Peyton Barber, who has that niche for we just need that 1 yard, can he do that? Now, I think Jaret Patterson, with how short he is and him being able to hide behind offensive linemen, that's a real thing. Ask NFL defenders, a short running back is really difficult to deal with because it's hard to see him. All you see is these gigantic defensive linemen and offensive linemen. You can't find them. Next thing you know, he's already running by you. So when it comes to goal line and things like that, Antonio Gibson is literally built like a linebacker. So he can easily do it, but again, you don't want him to take as much damage. You don't want to put that much mileage on his body. So that's when you bring in a Jaret Patterson or a Peyton Barber. And I heard a report that Rivera likes Peyton Barber and what he does for this team. So it sounds like Peyton Barber is ahead of Jaret Patterson on the depth chart as of right now anyway. So I'm hoping Jaret Patterson makes enough noise to either dethrone Peyton Barber or to at least make it to where we have to keep at least 4 running backs on that 53-man roster. But again, man, those were the honorable mentions. That's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Do you agree with my top 5? If you don't, what is your top 5 training camp battles and why? Please like this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. I'm pretty sure you learned something or like something, so legally you have to leave a like on this video before you leave out of here. Also, don't leave without subscribing and hitting the bell next to the subscription button. And as always, man, I appreciate all of the support, man, big time. Big shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel. Special shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now. And a special shouts out to my one All-Pro sponsor, Jaden. Again, these rookie film sessions are on the way very soon, and anybody that's a sponsor will get the exclusive lengthy version of the film sessions, while everybody else, the general public, will get just the shorter version. So be on the lookout for that. All of my sponsors, your sponsorships will be worth it. These film sessions are about to start coming out rapid fire, and y'all are gonna have the exclusive access to the true lengthy film sessions, the full film sessions, not the shortened down real quick versions. But yeah, man, I really appreciate all the support. I'll catch y'all later. Stay tuned. I'm out.